The African continent and Europe, two massive land masses with vastly different cultures and histories, are separated by a mere 8 miles of water at their closest point. Given their proximity, it might seem logical to construct a bridge connecting them. After all, it's a relatively short distance, one that a skilled swimmer might even be able to cross under the right conditions. Yet despite the narrow gap, no bridge spans this divide. Why hasn't anyone connected these two continents? The answer lies in the complex geopolitics, challenging geography, and significant logistical hurdles that revolve around one key location, the Strait of Gibraltar. The Strait of Gibraltar is not just any body of water, it's one of the most strategically important waterways in the world. It separates the southern tip of Spain from the northern coast of Morocco and serves as the gateway between the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. The strait is only 8.1 miles wide at its narrowest point, yet it is one of the busiest maritime routes globally, with thousands of ships passing through each year. 3 nations, Spain, Morocco, and the United Kingdom, are key players in the region, each with vested interests in controlling this vital passage. The UK, in particular, holds the British Overseas Territory of Gibraltar, a small but strategically crucial piece of land that sits at the entrance to the Mediterranean. The territory's waters, along with those of Spain and Morocco, are all part of the strait, creating a complex web of overlapping claims and interests. The geopolitical significance of Gibraltar cannot be overstated. While Spain, Morocco, and the UK all have a stake in the region, the status of Gibraltar adds a layer of complexity to any discussion of bridging the gap between Europe and Africa. Gibraltar, with its famous Rock of Gibraltar, a natural reserve and archaeological site, has long been a point of contention between Spain and the UK. Although Gibraltar is home to more than 34,000 people, many of whom speak Spanish and enjoy the current arrangement, Spain has repeatedly claimed sovereignty over the territory. This dispute is further complicated by the broader political context. The UK's exit from the European Union, Brexit, has created uncertainty about Gibraltar's future, particularly regarding its relationship with both Spain and the EU. Gibraltar residents are concerned about maintaining the freedom of movement they once enjoyed under EU membership, while ongoing negotiations seek to determine the future status of the territory. So why hasn't a bridge been built across this narrow stretch of water? The answer is multifaceted. First, the region's geopolitical complexities make it difficult for the involved parties, Spain, Morocco, and the UK, to reach a consensus on such a significant project. While relations between Spain and the UK are generally amicable, the ongoing dispute over Gibraltar continues to strain diplomatic ties. Any large-scale infrastructure project would require cooperation from all 3 nations, and history has shown that this is not always easy to achieve. Second, the environmental and logistical challenges of constructing a bridge across the Strait of Gibraltar are immense. The strait's waters are not only deep, but also subject to strong currents and winds. Building a bridge that could withstand these conditions would be an engineering marvel, but it would also be incredibly expensive and technically challenging. To understand the potential for a bridge or tunnel between Europe and Africa, it's helpful to look at a similar project, the Channel Tunnel, or Channel, between the UK and France. The Channel Tunnel, which opened in 1994 after decades of planning and construction, is a 31-mile rail tunnel that runs beneath the English Channel, connecting Folkestone in the UK with Coquelles in France. At the time of its completion, the tunnel was the longest underwater tunnel in the world and one of the most expensive construction projects ever undertaken, costing more than $20 billion in today's money. The Channel Tunnel demonstrated that it is possible to connect 2 countries separated by a significant body of water, but it also highlighted the immense challenges involved. The tunnel was initially proposed in 1802, but it took nearly 2 centuries to bring the idea to fruition. The project faced numerous hurdles, including political opposition, engineering difficulties, and financial challenges. Today, the Channel Tunnel is a crucial link between the UK and mainland Europe, but its construction required an extraordinary level of international cooperation and investment. Given the success of the Channel Tunnel, could a similar project work between Europe and Africa? In theory, yes. However, the challenges are even greater in the case of the Strait of Gibraltar. One major issue is the depth of the strait. While the Channel Tunnel runs beneath the relatively shallow English Channel, the Strait of Gibraltar is much deeper, with the seabed plunging to over 3,000 feet in some areas. Constructing a tunnel or bridge that could span such a depth would be unprecedented. Additionally, the strong currents and seismic activity in the region add further complications. Another challenge is the geopolitical situation. As mentioned earlier, any such project would require the cooperation of Spain, Morocco, and the UK, all of whom have their own interests and concerns. Morocco, in particular, might be wary of a large infrastructure project involving former colonial powers, given its history of conflict with Spain and its relatively recent independence, achieved in 1956. Another factor to consider is the issue of migration. The Schengen Agreement, which facilitates free movement among EU member states, was a key factor in the success of the Channel Tunnel. However, no such agreement exists between Europe and Africa, and any bridge or tunnel would require stringent border controls to manage the flow of people between the two continents. Migration from Africa to Europe has been a contentious issue for years, with many Africans seeking to escape poverty and political instability in their home countries. A bridge or tunnel connecting Europe and Africa could potentially become a new route for migrants, raising concerns among European countries about border security and the potential for increased immigration. This issue adds another layer of complexity to the already challenging prospect of connecting the two continents. Despite these challenges, the idea of connecting Europe and Africa is not new. In fact, Spain first proposed a tunnel beneath the Strait of Gibraltar in 1930. However, engineers quickly realized that the geology of the strait was far more challenging than that of the English Channel. The seabed beneath the Strait of Gibraltar is composed of hard rock and unstable sediment, making tunneling difficult and dangerous. In the 2000s, renewed interest in the project led to a massive geological survey to determine the feasibility of constructing a tunnel. The study found that while it was technically possible, it would be incredibly difficult. The most direct route would require tunneling more than 3,000 feet below the seabed, far deeper than any existing tunnel. An alternative route, though shallower, would be longer and still pose significant challenges. One proposal that gained some attention involved building an artificial island in the middle of the strait, which would serve as a midway point for the bridge or tunnel. This idea, while creative, would be enormously expensive and logistically complex, requiring the construction of a massive structure in the middle of a busy and strategically important waterway. Even if the technical challenges could be overcome, the economic and political hurdles remain significant. The cost of constructing a tunnel or bridge across the Strait of Gibraltar would likely be astronomical, potentially surpassing the cost of the Channel Tunnel. Funding such a project would require sustained cooperation and investment from all three nations involved, as well as support from international organizations. Furthermore, the political situation in the region remains delicate. Spain, Morocco, and the UK all have their own interests and agendas, and any disruption in their relationships could derail the project. The ongoing dispute over Gibraltar adds an additional layer of uncertainty, as does the broader geopolitical context, including the UK's post-Brexit relationship with the EU. Finally, there's the question of demand. While Morocco is a popular tourist destination, it ranks only 36th globally in terms of tourist arrivals. Would there be enough demand to justify the enormous cost and effort required to build a bridge or tunnel connecting Europe and Africa? It's possible that the project could become a significant draw for tourists and businesses, but it's also possible that it could turn into a costly white elephant used by relatively few people. So, the idea of bridging the gap between Europe and Africa is an ambitious one, but it faces enormous challenges. The geopolitical complexities, technical difficulties, and economic hurdles make it unlikely that we'll see a bridge or tunnel across the Strait of Gibraltar anytime soon. However, the dream of connecting continents is a powerful one, and as technology advances and political landscapes shift, it's possible that what seems impossible today could become a reality in the future. Until then, the 8-mile gap between Europe and Africa will remain a symbol of both the proximity and the vast differences between these two continents. As we continue to explore new ways to connect the world, it's worth remembering the challenges and opportunities that such projects present. If you found this exploration of the challenges and possibilities of bridging Europe and Africa interesting, leave a comment below with your thoughts or ideas. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more deep dives into the fascinating world of geography, geopolitics, and global connections.